Welcome back. This is episode number 355 of the Healthy Diabetic Podcast. I'm Coach Ken, and joining me as always is my partner in crime, diabetic partner in crime, Graham Hubbard. If you don't know much about our story, we are two type 1s with over 50 years of lived diabetes experience. We talk about anything and everything diabetes on this show. And we hope to inspire you to think differently about how you are managing your condition. Before we get started, please remember that nothing that you hear on this podcast should be considered medical advice or otherwise. Please always consult your medical team before making any changes to your diabetes management. All right, let's jump in. Graham, how are you, man? New day, new episode. How's it going?
New day, new dollar. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm not going to mince words.
Love it. Don't mince words.
I had a shower thought that came to me, and it shocked me that I've never asked you this. How do you approach giving somebody advice that needs to sit a loved one down about their weight management, their health, their... Let's loop it into the conversation of diabetes. Let's say your spouse is getting really unhealthy and everybody and their mother is saying, hey, if we don't make a change, X is going to happen. And they just keep going down that road.
Yeah.
As a health professional and as a coach, how do you approach those conversations? What does that look like to you? Has this ever happened to you in a like a gym center? You know, yeah, I can't believe I've never talked to you about this, but it's like, it's one of those weird, and I don't want to segment the audience, but you know, we're both married, for instance. So like in the married world, it's always like the joke, like, would you ever tell your wife she's fat kind of thing, right? So no, and I don't mean it to that degree, but like, you're a health professional, and I wonder what that would look like if someone came to you and said, hey, I got to sit my husband down or whatever.
So let me just start by saying this. I've dealt with it in all three aspects of my life. The fitness part of my career, the diabetes part of my career, and my personal life. I have dealt with this or this type of scenario where it's like, okay, we have to sit this individual down. It's time for tough love. Because if there isn't a change that's made, the risk of something happening, whatever that something is, could be catastrophic. And I think this is a really hard thing to talk about, especially with a family member. Because at the end of the day, if this person is not ready to receive this critical feedback, or this feedback, or whatever you're giving in them, it's literally going to go in one ear and out the other, right? So it literally doesn't matter how sincere you are. It doesn't matter any of that. It doesn't matter how good you are at articulating your views or your thought process or being compassionate, empathetic, whatever. It does not matter. If this person is not ready to receive that information, it is literally going to go in one ear and out the other. And what is the number one thing that they're going to do? Become very, very angry. Defensive. So it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. So how do you approach this? Well, if I'm approaching it from a coaching perspective, that's my job. It's my job to point out these things to my client, whether it's fitness, nutrition clients, diabetes clients, it doesn't matter. Right? It is my duty and my job as their guide in life to point this stuff out. Hey, like this seems like it's becoming a problem. Let's talk about it. I think the number one thing that you have to do when you're approaching this is try to find a bridge to walk on, to get them to lower down their defensiveness, to get them to lower down their, their being standoff about wanting to take a change.
Like set the playing field, level the playing field.
Yeah, it's like you have to find where that is, and it's different for everyone, right? Sure. I know when I used to talk to family members that really needed like a heart to heart, like, hey, I'm here for you. This is what I'm seeing. Do you feel like this is a problem? Because as soon as you ask that question, do you feel like this is a problem? Only one or two things are going to happen. They're going to get very defensive, and they're going to be like, no, that's not a freaking problem. What are you talking about? Where are you getting this information from?
Or they've heard this before. Or they've heard this before. And
whatever.
Right.
Or from the other side of it, they're going to be like, yeah, it is a problem. I do need support. I do need help. Yes, it is a problem.
Which is the best case scenario.
Which is the best case scenario, because now you can go into it with the compassion and empathy and really help that individual and be there for that individual. As a family member, like I believe as a family member, your number one job, regardless of anything else, your number one job as a family member is to have compassion and empathy and just be there as a supportive person. If they want more than that, great. Then you serve, or you give more than that. The hardest things I've ever had to go through is from the personal side. On the coaching side, like that's my job. Like I'm supposed to call you out on your bullshit.
Of course.
I'm supposed to call you out on stuff.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be your helpful guide and help you navigate that problem. But as a family member, or even as a friend, it's extremely hard because my coaching lens comes into the picture.
Yeah.
Really quickly, right?
Exactly
so if the door is open, right? If the door is open, right?
Yeah.
If they say to that original question, like, do you feel like this is a problem? Do you need support in this? How can I help you? And they're opening that door for you to walk through. It's really hard for my brain of, okay, well, have we done this? Have you tried this? Have you done this? Let's do this. It's really hard for that part of my brain to like slow down and be like, okay, you're walking through the door. You're walking through this door. Now let's just have a conversation. Let's not try to fix the problem. Let's have a conversation. But I intuitionally go to, I need to fix the problem.
That's the, if you're young and listening to this, that's the grand irony of the world. The Kens of the world, it'll eventually work against you, right? Because people are like, oh, easy for you to say, like, oh, Ken the trainer is sitting me down, Mr.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes, and again, this is one of the sad realities of the world. Then it becomes, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Right? No matter what your stance is, because this is the one that always hurts me, is people's like, well, you don't know what they're doing at home, and I always laugh like, well, they probably don't want to tell you what they're doing at home, because I always say, I always make the joke, like, let me walk home with you right now. Like, if you could really stand up when someone goes on the defense on this topic, right? And I'm not saying I go around challenging people to it, but I can hear it in the world that we live in. But I always say, like, let me go home with you right now and open your fridge and just prove to me that this isn't all kind of bullshit, right? But that is, in a way, it's the very hard card that you've drawn, right? That you have to play at all times.
Yeah, but I also
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. It's like, and I'm sure a lot of people face this in their lives. Like, imagine if you're a teacher, you're educating the youth every day. You're the leader. You're telling kids to be quiet, and then you got to go home and take care of your kids and your family, and like, that must be very hard to turn that off. I always think about that as a reference. So no, that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is hard to turn it off, but I also think that it's a hard pill to swallow, man, because it's hard to turn it off, but also, like, me going in that situation, whether it's family or client, me going into that situation with just like, hey, I need to fix this situation, or I need to come up with a solution, that might not be the best solution to the problem. the best solution to the problem might just be, hey, let me just listen.
Sure.
Let me listen to this for a second. Let me be here as an emotional person, as an emotional, emotional guy, whatever you want to call it, to this person. Because if I go in there automatically and try to fix it, even if the doors are open, right? Even if I'm able to walk through the doors and I'm going in there with I got to fix this problem mentality.
Yeah.
The problem is the doors just might be open, but the defensiveness, the actually wanting to listen, the actually wanting to change the behavior, they might not be there yet, right?
Yeah.
So going in with I need to fix this mentality right out of the gate has slapped me in the face so many times. Right? So I have learned now in that situation that it's a much better solution to try to step through the doors and just turn on the hearing aids. Like, just listen to this person, because they're going to vent about it, especially if you're not saying anything back to them and they really want to talk about this problem.
Yeah,
they're going to tell you.
So,
and that conversation of them telling you is now going to open more doors and open the door even wider for you to step through to actually try to come up with a solution, help fix.
Okay, let me ask you point blank the hardest question I always think is to say to somebody.
Yeah.
Have you ever directly said to somebody your weight is an issue?
I'm trying to think if I've ever really said. I don't think I've actually ever really said that to somebody.
Okay. How do you say that to somebody?
Well, again, it's a conversational piece.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, hold on.
And you have to build rapport with this person.
Hold on. Let's just.
Are you talking? Hold on. Are you talking about this from the coach's perspective of the client, or family, or either?
Just in life, like at all.
Okay.
Like, have you ever had a situation where it was just plain as day? It was like, okay, obviously there are other factors, but it's
of course.
Like, here's from my perspective, and maybe it wasn't even the topic of, maybe it wasn't even what you were talking, like,
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever approached someone and just said, like, hey, listen, I love you enough to say
you need to lose some weight, or you have this issue, or you have this problem, or
yeah.
No, I don't. To my recollection, I don't know if I ever have.
Just keep going with the questions. Is that to you because it's like a left versus right type of, where it's like I'm not, because I respect the hell out of that. Like, I don't want anybody to tell me how to believe, what to think. Is it that, or is it you truly haven't had that situation presented to you, or do you really think in your heart of hearts, like, that is never a way, like, kind of leap, to piggyback on what you're saying, like, it's never a way to talk to somebody. I'm just asking, I'm not judging. It's just like, I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah. So I think there's two things to this question, right? Right now, where I am in life and career-wise, I don't think that is an appropriate way to talk to someone or tell someone that is the behavioral change that needs to happen. If you asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said, no, I've never had that direct conversation with someone, or direct comment to someone, but only because the times that I was put in that situation, it was from a professional scenario, which I've always taken the approach that I'm never going to say that to someone's face right out the gate without building tons of rapport, without knowing that they can handle it. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to say that to someone from the professional place of where I live. But nowadays I have a completely different understanding of how I would approach that conversation in the first place than I did 10 years ago. Right. So to answer your question, no, I've never directly said that to somebody, but only 10 years ago, because the only time that I was ever in a place to be able to say that to someone was in a professional manner. And I've never crossed that line professionally.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Cross that. Yeah. Do you feel like
now 10 years ago, if something from family or friends, I would have been like, dude, what the heck you doing? Like, you got to lose some weight. Like, what's going on? I would have said that. I just wasn't in that situation.
Do you worry that if you said that to a client that could follow you and then negatively affect your...
No, because it's my job.
Your mission? Okay.
No,
cool.
No, because
cool.
Being straight and upfront with people is important.
Yeah.
But also, like we talked in the past, how you approach and the words that you say in that situation hold a lot of weight, right? So now understanding communication and how to actually talk to a client and not just give them the business, but also give them the business in a professional and empathetic and sympathetic way. Two totally different things. You can give someone the business that really deserves the business. Like, dude, stop drinking. Dude, what are you doing? Stop eating so much freaking Cheetos. Go freaking on a walk every day. Like, what are you doing? You can 100% give someone the business that way. But when you approach it in that manner,
sure,
9 times out of 10, it's going to go through one ear and out the other. And behind their breath, they're going to call you an asshole.
So let's have some fun. Because we're all diabetics, we're all listening for diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that conversation with yourself about diabetes? With myself? When? Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a really important question. I want everybody to think about this and hear this. How and when do you walk into the bathroom and you close the door and you look yourself in the mirror and you say, is this the fault of my insulin? Is this the fault of my blood sugar meter? Is this the fault of the CGM? Or am I just not committed to everything I need? Like, do I need to look at myself?
Yeah. So keep going.
And I know you're going to love this because I've done this 1,000 times with my endo. You see it maybe like, it's so weird, but it is human. It's when you have to report your shit back to somebody, and that is the weird world that we live in. It's like, no matter what you want to say or do say, the best thing you could do is just, when you get there to the endo, be honest. And sometimes once you hear yourself regurgitating that bullshit, sometimes you're like, oh my God, listen to the fucking lie I'm feeding myself every day. And like, I've done it a million times where I'm like, bro, quit blaming the meter, quit blaming the blah, blah, blah. Like, when is it time to look at myself and judge myself and reapproach my thought? And I know everybody who probably listens to this show all the time is like, holy shit, this is the ever going theme of what you guys always talk about. But it is very important to think about in the sense of diabetes, right? Like, when you can't judge insulin unless you know you're giving it your all, right? Does that make sense? Like, the insulin's only doing its part if you're giving your part to the diabetes.
Yeah, but there's other variables that factors that, well, not even factors, but other variables that can come into play, like, oh, bad insulin. You're using insulin pump. Oh, your tube got twisted. And so here's my thoughts of what you're saying, right? When we think about ourselves, when we're trying to hold ourselves to the fire and ask ourselves these important questions, like, is this your fault, or is this is this the problem of the insulin, the CGM, the pump, whatever it might be, whatever it might be, okay? Anything external outside of our control. Not, again, 9 times out of 10, when you look in the mirror, you know the answer. You know that you're the one that's messing up. You know that you're the one that's not pre-bolusing. You're the one that has these fear of lows and you're not giving yourself enough insulin. You're the one that isn't exercising every day. You're the one that's not sleeping. You're the one that's not drinking tons of water all day and staying hydrated. You're the one that's not doing the things to the best of your ability. We know those things. Come on. Just like someone that needs to lose weight. They know they need to lose weight. They just need a guide to help them figure out where to start and how to get there. It is literally the same thing with diabetes. All we need is a guide to educate us and help take us down the highway.
Yeah.
And tell us where to get off and when to get back on. That's literally all we need.
Accountability.
Because
accountability,
right? Accountability.
Every turn, right?
Right. And that's why everything I've always talked about is based off of 3 specific things, because it is what we need in life, and is what I have found dramatically helps improve a diabetic situation. And that's being educated on what's going on, having community behind you, and having people keep you accountable. I hope that this podcast does the first 2. We don't really have the ability to have like a real community with the podcast, but we're speaking to our community. There is a community of diabetics out there, and we're speaking to that community. So I think that's really important for all of us to understand, that like, if you're fucking up. You know if you're messing up. The question becomes, you have that awareness, and you're telling yourself that, and now you trust and believe that story. Now what do you do? And that's where a lot of people fall off. Is, okay, I know I'm messing up, but I don't know where to start. I know I'm messing up, but I don't know what the next step is. I've got all of these things I think is the problem. How do I navigate all of this stuff together? Or I've got 2 things that I think is the problem, and I only really know how to navigate one of them. The other one is conflicting. Whatever it might be, it's not in alignment. That's where the education piece comes in, and the accountability. And you can't, if you don't know where to start and you don't know how to figure this out, you need support outside of yourself, because you can't do it alone.
So it's not the same for everybody, but what is the first step in your mind, Ken?
Well, just like anything, the first step is 100%. The first step is having the awareness that there's a problem. That's the first step. Because literally I talk to people all the time on social media, and I'm talking to them through the DMs. I'm having great conversations with them. And when I first connect with them, they're telling me, they're giving me this whole list of issues that they have with their diabetes.
Yeah.
Emotionally, physically, technology, whatever it is.
Yeah.
When we get to the end of the conversation, and I'm asking them, where do you feel like you need the most support? They are telling me, I don't know. I don't know where to start. But then they're not in a position where they want the support, or they feel like they have to have the support. That's the biggest problem, is getting this individual, 1, to be aware that there is a problem, 2, to be able to get this individual to understand that they don't have to do this alone, because everyone thinks they have to do this alone. I hear that all the time. And then 3, what actually is the problem? Because if there's 5 different things that are the problem, that's a problem, we can't try to attack all 5 things. So then we have to prioritize all 5 things. We have to prioritize all of them. What is the most important? Out of these 5 things that you feel like are out of alignment in your management, if you fixed one of them, which one do you think would give you the best, or it would improve your quality of life, your blood sugars, and your diabetes? And then you attack that one first. And then you do the same with the second one, and then the third one, and then the fourth one, and then the fifth one. And then by the time you get to the 5th one, or probably even the 3rd one, you'll understand the 4th and 5th one, because you've educated yourself. You've started to build habits and routines. You start understanding what the blood sugars are and what the CGM data is telling you. You're starting to experiment. So that this is it really is a piece where if you we're just throwing numbers out here, but if it is 5 things, we're saying this is I need support, and there's 5 underlining things that I need support in. And the first 2 I'm going to work on. I've been working on the first 2. Now that I've got the first 2 in alignment, everything else starts cascading. Cascading effect of, okay, now I've got these other things. Now I can understand nutrition. Yeah. Now I can understand exercise in a deeper manner. Yeah. Because I've aligned and figured out all these other things.
Yeah. Dude, I think I don't want to cut.
And this is the last thing. This is the last thing that I want to hear what you have to say. That right there of figuring out, like, do you have 5 things? Do you have 3 things? Do you have 2 things? What is it? Let's prioritize it and let's attack it. That's literally the 5 pillars of diabetes success.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think I hit it well. I think I hid it well, as in while you were talking. But you do this often. You say things that hit me like a ton of bricks. And because diabetes is a day-to-day disease, the things that are happening in like the social issues that are happening in our world play into it. And I had never thought, but you're exactly right, is post-COVID, they talk about it, or social media generation, hidden behind a computer. Kids are a lot more introverted. They're doing things a lot more on their own and at home, quietly in their bedroom. And I never thought about how difficult it is. It probably is, and it's going to be, to just ask for help now because of, again, what you're saying. It's a very different time, man. Like,
and it's a vulnerability thing too, to ask for help. It's super vulnerable to ask for help, especially for a guy.
Not only that, and this is going to be something that we're going to say over and over again for until our kids are, until they bury us. But we're going to say, we remember a time before the internet, and we remember a time before information and this and that. And, you didn't really, if you're just going to shut down and I'm not trying to talk down on what's happening, but if you're just going to shut down and not ask for help, there was no other alternative. You might stumble up, you might have the wherewithal to go to your library. Like, that's how things were. There was not information and community more than anything. So I think that's a really
your community
cool,
was
important
so
thing that
small.
we should probably talk about. I want to go back and do some notes and do some reading on it, because I hadn't thought about how difficult it must be to be a teenager with type 1 diabetes, and maybe like a little heavy, or even whatever, to be heavy set, to just come from a heavy set family and to all of a sudden be type 2, and like that's crazy. That's crazy to me. And it's not, it is genetics though at times, and it is figuring out it is growing into your body, into all those things that are happening, so I hadn't thought about that, man. I wonder how different that looks like these days, asking for help, so it's funny to talk to you.
I can only speculate. I can only speculate about that. And the way I think about it, what I hypothesize is that it has become even more, because when I was a kid, when I was growing up, you didn't ask for help. You figured it out on your own. It was like looked down upon if you were like going and asking for help, especially as a young male, right? Especially as a young male.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I feel like it's even worse, because there's the internet, there's AI that some people use as their medical professional and as relationships. Like, this is my friend, this is my relationship. Like, they're using that stuff. Okay. And the other thing is that the community in terms of society has grown exponentially because of social media, because of the internet, right? So if you're dealing with something, especially as a young kid, female or male, all it takes is one bully, one person posting that on Snapchat, and now everyone knows your fucking business. That did not happen when we were in school, when we were kids. before social media, before all this stuff. Yeah, people in your school found out, and maybe people 2 schools over, but not the whole fucking world. Oh, it's Ken's coming out and like he's, an alcoholic or whatever. Like whatever it might be. And now everyone in the world knows my issues that I got going on. Mm-hmm. Ken's dealing with diabetes, or Ken's about to lose a leg, or Ken's this, and this. Only takes one person to throw that stuff out there, and now the whole world knows your stuff and knows your business. My parents just got divorced. My, best friend killed himself. Like all these things that happen every single day with people.
I'm just kind of worried about
it's AI just crazy
taking everything you just said, because like you're just gonna get everything you just said is gonna be taken for fact now, because AI is gonna take it. So,
dude, you think you're like a celebrity, like laughing, something negative comes
literally
out?
Everything you just said right there, right?
I mean, it could be, man. And that's the scary piece. And I think that is the scary piece about all this, right? And when we take this back to like asking for support, okay, people don't like to be vulnerable.
Hold on. If you were me and you were 8 when you're diagnosed, you feel like you would have felt that male pressure to not ask
for help?
Yeah, because I feel like when you said that, I said, you're right, but my immediate thought was that my perspective was very different, because I was always like taught to kind of like, if you felt shitty, go to the school nurse, or.
But that's it right there, Graham. That's it right there. You were. Well, that's what I was.
Hold on. Don't make a point about society in this. Like, I want to quickly ask you, like, do you think you would have felt male pressure, or would it have been completely different if you were diagnosed at a younger age?
It would not have mattered, because the environment that I was in dictated, and I learned that you don't ask for help.
So if you were
real personal stuff, it wasn't until I got to college that I even asked for help with academics. And I needed help in high school with academics. I never asked for help. It wasn't until I was about to flunk out of college that I actually got the courage to ask for help, because all my friends, they were A students.
Yeah.
Every single one of my best friends, every single one of my friends, my guy friends, my girlfriends, they were all B, A students. And I was subpar C student. And it took a lot out of me. It took a lot out of me to ask for help.
Was your environment telling you figure things out, or you were led to believe that?
That's the stories that I told myself. Because of the way I grew up. Parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, basically by myself, right? No male support, because my dad wasn't really around. Not 100% to his issue, but he wasn't really around. Just the divorce and everything didn't allow him to be around. So I didn't have a real male like older role model figure, which is why I searched that out from my friends' brothers, my friends' dads, to become that male role model, because I didn't have that. Right. So I taught myself, or I guess like thought at a very young age, that I couldn't ask for help. I had to be the bigger person. I had to figure everything out. Which is why it took me till college to actually learn how to even study. Like I never until I got to college and I was forced to do it, and I'm still not very good at it, actually learn how to actually study. Actually learn how to read and articulate things that I'm reading, and actually comprehend those things. I still to this day have to read a book. If I'm reading a book and I really want to comprehend everything, all the points and everything in the book, I got to read it 3 or 4 times, which is why I listen to audiobooks.
Were you aware? Because I don't even have to ask you if you were doing this or not. I already know this about you. were you aware that you were putting in the work to get what you were trying to achieve at that time, though?
I was aware that I was putting in very little work. And because I wasn't a good student.
No. Okay, come on. You
No,
can't
hold on.
not give yourself credit.
No.
Were you aware though to like you said like you weren't getting flunking out. You use that term like the flunking out term.
Yeah.
But I can already tell you weren't just not present. I could probably tell you were doing everything you had in your power to. No motivation at all either, really.
No, dude, I hated school.
That's crazy to me.
I probably wouldn't have finished college if it wasn't for football.
But okay, you were working hard on the field.
But you're talking about academics.
Okay.
I was working hard on the field, but that doesn't when we're talking about something, we're talking about two different things, right? And this can go back to diabetes for everybody. So let's relate this back to diabetes too.
Athletics is diabetes.
Okay. Athletics versus school, regardless of what type of school it is. Most people would choose to 100% dive into athletics than school. Most people don't want to just sit in a classroom and learn about facts, learn about things. Some people do. And those are the amazing individuals that go off and do great things. Okay? Not all of them, but some of them. For me, my entire existence from the time I was 6 months old to the time I stopped playing college stopped playing college football my sophomore year. Really, it was my junior year. Everything I did was around sports. Everything. I would have flunked out of high school if it wasn't that I played 3 sports because I didn't care. I wasn't taught to care. It was just like, oh, you got to get good grades. And it just so happened that I went to every class pretty much till my senior year. I went to every class. I did all the assignments. I did all the work. I did all the homework, but didn't do great on the tests because I wasn't a great test taker.
Yeah.
Right. So how does this come back to diabetes? When we think about diabetes, it is the same concept. What are the things that we want to do? We want to go out. We want to play sports. We want to engage with society. What do we not want to do? We don't want to be hyper-focused on every single blood sugar. We don't want to be hyper-focused on every single decision. And I'm not saying you should be, but you still have to understand the decision. So if you're looking at something like school, where for me, I didn't want to be in school. I didn't want to. If I could have been a pro athlete, I would have happily been a pro athlete. But that was not in the cards for a 5'7" white dude that couldn't run past a 4.5 40. Just wasn't in the cards.
5'7's being nice too.
Oh, shut it. So school, bringing back to diabetes, okay, we don't want to do the things that are, 1, easy, and 2, things that take up so much time and energy. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that almost every single person that's ever lived with diabetes at some point in their journey, okay, maybe it's not every single person, but most people don't pre-bolus? It's a pain in the ass. When you're out with friends, when you're out with family, it is a pain in the ass to have to sit there for 15, 20 minutes when everyone else is eating for you to pre-bolus. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it. So we pick and choose.
It's not fluid, you know.
We pick and choose when we do those things.
Yeah.
Okay? Why do you think so many people get irritated with technology, CGMs, pumps, whatever it is? Because they don't always work every single time. They don't make life super, 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 super freaking easy. They make life easier, but they don't make life super easy. So we pick and choose what we want to do. And that's why for me, the 5 pillars make so much sense. because it allows you to recognize the things that maybe you're screwing up on, maybe that you're not doing to the best of your ability, and allows you to prioritize things instead of saying like, oh man, I got these 5 things that I'm really screwing up on, but I don't know which one I should start. I can't mentally deal with all these at one time. Well, that 5 pillars helps you bridge that and prioritize things. So like for me, like it taking the school concept and the athletic concept makes so much sense because I wanted to play sports 100%. And playing sports made me do all the other things to stay academically eligible.
Yeah.
So I did the bare minimum, which is why I graduated high school with like what, a 2.7, and I think I graduated college with like a 2.5, 2.4, because I did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Well, it's the least path of resistance.
Let's
I did that. I've done that with my diabetes. For the first 10, 12 years.
Let's get wild. Let's get wild here because I love doing this to you. And it's so fun because your experience was so different. And I want to stay honest to time. So for 10, I got to give this 10 minutes. I got to do something with my daughter. So for these last 10 minutes, I want to play a little game. I have 2 questions for you, 2 scenarios.
Okay. I'll try to be very precise.
What would your approach have been to high school sports and going to college if you were diabetic?
What would my approach have been?
And the second question was going to be, do you think in some crazy roundabout way your attitude would be different about what you're kind of saying right now, where you might have you would have had more respect, more thought, more, you kind of sit there and say like, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but kind of going through the motions almost. And you kind of talked about some deep personal stuff that I was even unaware about, with your dad and divorce and stuff. But do you think it would have given you more stability and more value? And do you think it would have given you a basis for maybe a more productive way of living? If that makes any sense to you. And
yeah, I would say no.
And why? Because, like explain that why. Because like you know more about yourself than anybody else. And
I would say no, because I know how I was the first 3.5, 4 years of my diagnosis. So if I'm getting diagnosed in high school, whether it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, whatever it is, I would have played it off like it was nothing, just like I did when I was diagnosed at 25. If I was going to college, I would have played it off like it was nothing, just like so many other unfortunate college students do as well. Like I would drink all the time. I wouldn't take care of myself. Like,
you think so?
I think so. And well, let me rephrase.
I don't know. The Ken
I think so too.
I think so.
Because I'm a different Ken now than I was 18 years ago. Right? I'm coming up on 18 years being diagnosed.
Yeah, I'm coming up on knowing you for 10 years too, bro. So how different could you have been?
A lot different, dude. You met me at you met me at the good times.
Okay.
You met me at the good times. So going back to the college thing, right? So I think the only thing that would have pulled me out of denial, pulled me out of like mentally being depressed about it, hiding it, the only thing in college that would have pulled me out of it is if it started affecting football. As soon as it started affecting football, then I probably would have taken action and started learning more and trying to figure it out. And then it could have had more positive. Then I could see how it might have had a more positive effect on me as a person and at that time of my life. But I was high school, middle school, even college. I was super, super immature. Super immature. So immature. On one, immature as a human being and as a male, but also too immature in what life was really all about. Which, I mean, you can say that for a lot of high school kids and college kids. Like you just, you barely lived your life yet. So, but knowing how I was at the beginning of this diagnosis, even if maybe it would have been different if I would have had more support at the beginning and not had to figure everything out myself. And maybe it would have been totally different if I was diagnosed in high school when I'm still on mommy and daddy's coin and under mommy and daddy's roof. Maybe it would have been different. But just knowing how I treated it at the beginning, I don't think anything could have pulled me out of what I went through, unless it was directly affecting my sports, because that's what I was really all about.
Outside of the requirement of sports, would you see a doctor regularly? Were you getting blood work, going to a dentist and things like did you have insurance? Like, was that?
Yeah, I had insurance through mom and dad. Like, I had my insurance through mom. I had, I was getting yearly annual checkups on my eyes, annual checkups on the my teeth.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah, I was doing that.
Yeah.
But just because I was on mommy and daddy's insurance, when I got off mommy and daddy's insurance, I wasn't doing it.
You say mommy and daddy's?
Yeah. I guess it would have been my mom's insurance, not dad's insurance.
Did you say mommy and daddy's?
Mommy and daddy.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, maybe it's because that's what my girls say, mommy and daddy.
Mom and dads. I don't know if he was trying to say mom and dads, but I couldn't.
I just think it's like it's like a thing because my girls say mommy and daddy all the time, so it's just like in my head.
No, I love this car. This is so like, if we were sitting in a car right now, I would just grill you for hours because I do not. No, I do not know any other perspective other than like, well, when was the last time you saw your doctor? Like, I know that sounds like funny to other people, but it's like, if anything was like, that's all that I knew. I don't know if I ever talked about this. Long before diabetes, dude, I had warts on my feet and I had hernias as a kid. So I'd had like I'd been under the knife and like been like under for surgeries like 3 times. I had known pain. I had known pain at the highest level before I was ever diagnosed. Like, and
this is crazy because this is eight years prior.
Yeah, exactly. Grandparents are doctors. Everybody is doctors in the family, type of thing, right? So like, that is the only perspective I know. Like, that is truly the only perspective I know. And I'm not trying to like judge the rest of the world, but I find that like complimentary of you to know that, dude, you're out, even if you might think low of yourself, you were taking care of your health, you were looking out for things. And I understand with college football, there's a lot of what are the tests when you go to the doctor and they do all this stuff? What do you guys the football? Yeah, physicals. Remember the days of the boys always getting physicals and shit like that?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Of course, dumb football players, dumb us, we wait till like the week before we have to have all the physicals done, and like you barely get in to see the doctor to get a physical.
So in your childhood, nothing during your physicals, no sign of
No, I never had anything. I never had anything pop up. No. Thank God.
They always told me I had scoliosis.
Really?
Yeah. My sister and I, they would always tell me that we had that. And I still think to the day, isn't that scoliosis like a curvature of the back?
Curvature of the spine.
Remember they'd stand behind you and like bend over?
Yeah, because they're just looking at your spine.
How different times were. It sounds kind of perverted, but... And remember the box to get how far you could reach? Did you guys do that?
Yeah, sit and reach. No, I don't do that anymore.
The sit and reach boxes.
Because that requires so much activation of all kinds of different muscles. So it's like they're trying to test your hamstrings, and I know that the presidential fitness test that was happening recently, but have they completely gotten rid of all that physical stuff? I have no idea. I have no idea what's in the schools right now.
Do they do like cough? Do they do like the cough like
for physicals? I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't had a physical forever.
What's the purpose of that?
I think, man, I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Is it for a hernia? Is it for hernia?
I think it's part of it.
Yeah, because I think water in your balls is a sign of like a hernia or something like that.
I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea.
Well,
I just know I had to do it every year. And it's like, okay, all right, doc, you can grab my things now.
This is funny.
Cough. All right, cool. You done?
This is funny we're talking about this because you mentioned it and I brought it up to a doctor. I had Mother's Day brunch with a doctor and I said to him, and I kind of talked to him the way that I talk to you, like, you're kind of all know it all. So I was like, let's talk about AI. Like, how's that affecting your job? And you know, what's so funny? His answer was what everybody says. There is a way to use AI, you know, like they're like Google, like the encyclopedia, like pen and paper, like all the things that all the predecessors. He's like, there is an amazing way to use it as a tool. He's like, but absolutely. He's like, the way that people are coming in and talking to me is, you know,
yeah, because they've asked
like
AI all the questions
before, and he's
they've
maybe
asked.
8 years.
They've AI. Doc, what about this? I saw this on Claude or Chat GPT. Like, it told me about this, and this is my symptoms. Like, you don't have that. Get out of here. Yeah, I can only imagine the frustration that he has.
He said it's even when you diagnose something, he's like, see, people can come back to you with things that they've never had comprehension
any
of before,
idea about.
Hold on. Which it's not necessarily, they're not valid, like they are very valid questions. But in his example, he's like, for instance, I gave someone a cancer diagnosis and it's particular to this. Well, the 1% of the time it might be something and they're finding out about those things. He's like, so it's taking that much longer to talk to people about those 1% things that could happen.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know, so
absolutely.
I felt his pain in that sense was just, you know,
it's crazy, man. That stuff's crazy.
So, yeah.
Well, man, good talk. Well, as always. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Awesome. We will be back on Monday. Today's Wednesday. What is it? Today's the 12th?
Right? Yeah, next Monday, because then the Mondays after
the 13th. That is... Today's the 13th.
The Monday after that is Memorial Day, if you can believe that, bro. It's summer already. Crazy.
We're already halfway through the month, man. It's insane. It's half freaking
the year,
insane. So, almost. Yeah, June would be halfway through the year. Oh, my God. That's crazy.
And then July 4th is 250, bro.
250?
America 250.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ever want to hear what a war zone sounds like, come to Central Florida on July 4th. It is absolutely bonkers here, bro. And I think it's going to be crazy this year. So,
yeah. That's crazy, man. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Graham, thank you as always. And we will see you guys next time.